As everyone knows, traveling can be just a wee bit stressful sometimes. There are so many factors at play, and honestly, we have little to no control over most of them. So buckle up, kiddos, because I'm about to describe to you the most stressful and crazy time I've ever had while trying to fly somewhere. Airplanes are a bit of a nightmare to me. My family was never one of those families who would do a lot of traveling, and when we did, it was usually by car. So because of that, air travel is like a mythical creature to me, and I have no idea how it works or how to navigate an airport. Thankfully, my husband has a lot of experience with flying, because if he hadn't, then I honestly don't think I would have gotten anywhere. People would probably just find my corpse in the distant future, hiding in a corner of the airport in the fetal position. So our trip started out in Colorado. We had gone to see family and friends for the holidays, and we're headed back to where we currently live in Japan. We woke up in the wee hours of 3 a.m. and headed to the airport. Now, things had already started to go wrong from the very beginning. When we went to check our baggage, they handed us a ticket, but the time of the flight on the ticket was different than what we signed up for. The employee took a look at our flight itinerary, and apparently there had been some last-minute changes to the schedule. Normally that would be fine, right? And it would have been if they had actually rescheduled all of our flights. For some reason, we had a flight from Colorado to Texas, and then a flight from Tokyo to our home. But they just didn't schedule us a flight from Texas to Japan? I don't know about you, but swimming from Texas all the way to Japan would be a bit much. So we were very confused, and were trying to figure out what we were supposed to do. All three employees were standing behind the desk, looking at the computer screen with perplexed looks on their faces. And I've gotta say, that wasn't the most comforting thing to see. When the people who work there don't even know what's going on, then you know you're in for a bad time. After lots of awkwardly standing there at the desk, things got sorted and we were sent on our merry way. Things were looking up. Now that we had one hiccup out of the way, things would go smoothly, right? Right? Spoiler alert, they did not. So we get to Texas. After scrambling around for a while trying to get to the main help desk, we had 3 more employees staring with confusion at our flight plans. At this point, Mr. Ghosty and I were starting to get a little nervous. This was the second time we had employees completely baffled by what was happening with our plans, so we could only laugh at the situation. Although, the guy behind the desk in Texas was very sassy and he was a complete mood. Even the way he typed on his keyboard was filled with sass, and I was living for it. We had a long layover, so we decided just to get a hotel in Texas for the night. We scrambled around trying to find where the hotel shuttle buses were, and we waited for a long time. We saw all of these super nice buses drive by us, and then a slightly sketchy one pulled up. There were probably 10 different hotel stickers slapped onto the window. The thing had a few dents, and it seemed like it had seen some things. A guy hopped out of the bus, and it took us a while to figure out if it was for us or not. The guy had a pretty thick accent, which made him a little hard to understand, and we also didn't have cell service to call the hotel without Wi-Fi. After several long, awkward minutes of us holding up the vehicle, sure enough, this ride was here for us. It was like walking into a war zone when we got in the bus. Parts of the bus were falling apart. I'm pretty sure my seatbelt didn't work, and there was a large family with one obviously sick and coughing child. I was shoved into the very back of the bus while Mr. Ghosty sat shotgun. We held on for dear life as this bus made its way through the busy streets. This guy was texting while driving, fiddling with his radio, and speed limits were a mere suggestion. But hey, in the end, he got us there in one piece, so we still tipped him. One guy got out at the same hotel as us, and when we got into the lobby, he said, "Hope you like the hotel better than that car ride. Welcome to Texas, brother." What a legend. We got checked into our hotel room and immediately spotted a suspicious-looking mystery stain on the couch. But otherwise, the room was fine. Although, someone was clearly having a great time in another room because the hallway reeked of weed. But at that point, We were so tired and stressed out that we didn't even really care. No amount of mystery stains were going to stop us from getting off our feet and trying to get some rest. We ordered some food and turned on the TV. The channel was playing this show called My 600-Pound Life, and I've gotta say, I felt a little weird watching that show while eating french fries and fried chicken. Not to fear though, I got what was coming to me early the next morning when I woke up with food poisoning. At first, I thought I was just dehydrated and getting a migraine, but it became painfully obvious that that was not the case. And if I wasn't dehydrated before, I certainly was then, because my body turned into a volcano. It was 3 a.m. once more, and I was trying to pack my things so we could return to the airport. However, I had to keep going back and forth between packing and being violently sick in the bathroom. At that point, Mr. Ghosty was almost sure that he would have to just carry me through the airport like a wounded soldier in battle. And to be fair, I kind of felt like I was dying, so it's an accurate depiction. But I was prepared! I had an emergency bag in my pocket just in case, and we set out once more with all our luggage. We got into the hotel elevator, pushed the button, and then waited. And waited. But nothing happened. So we pushed the button again. And again, nothing happened. We started pushing other buttons. The elevator refused to move or open the door. So there we were, stuck in an elevator. This was like something straight out of a romance anime. Stuck in an elevator with the guy I love, ooh woo. Except for the fact that it was 3 a.m., we were in a hurry, and I still had food poisoning, so kisses were definitely not going to be shared. Thankfully, this only lasted a few minutes before the elevator decided to figure out its life and start working again. We wasted no time getting out of that elevator once the doors opened, and we made our way back to the airport. I ended up getting sick in a trash can by the baggage line we were waiting in, and the lady by us said, "Oh, I hope she's pregnant," and Mr. Ghosty gives this nervous laugh and says, "Oh, how I wish that was the problem." It was fine though. We checked our bags and thought, okay, that was exciting, but things should be smooth sailing now. Oh, how wrong that was. Just a few minutes before our flight is supposed to board, we hear a voice over the intercom telling us that the FAA Notice to Air Missions system is down nationwide. What is the Notice to Air Missions system, you may ask? Simply put, it allows people on the ground to inform pilots of any potential hazards during their flight. And since this system is essential to flight safety, all flights were paused nationwide until they could get the system back on. That meant that over 32,000 flights got delayed or cancelled, and people were kinda just stuck in airports all over. So, with nothing else to do, Mr. Ghosty and I found a nice cozy spot on the ground and waited. The system was back up and running in around 3 hours or so, and they quickly got us boarded and sent us off to Chicago. We were almost certain that we were going to miss our flight to Japan, because the Chicago airport is gigantic. Not only is it gigantic, but they don't have any kind of transportation rail system to get between terminals. Once we landed in Chicago, we practically ran across the airport trying to get to our overseas flight. Now, mind you, Mr. Ghosty is taller than me by a full foot, so my little legs were working in overtime. Some way, somehow, we actually made it to our flight. We got there as they were almost done boarding and made it onto the plane. Then all we had to do was sit back and relax for 13 and a half hours. There was a small child sitting right behind me on that flight, and they would occasionally start screaming and kicking the back of my chair, but honestly, I was like, me too, little homie, me too. The kids said what we were all thinking. At one point, I got up to use the restroom and stretch my legs out. I walked up to the small restroom on the plane and tried to open the door, but it didn't budge. I gave the handle a jiggle, but it still didn't do anything. Then, my socially anxious self started to get nervous. I thought, oh no, I can't open the door. I don't know how to open this door, but I don't want to look like an idiot for not being able to open the door. So, in my panicked ape-brain state, I started trying even harder to open the door. I pushed, pulled, jiggled the handle several times, but nothing was working. Then, to my horror, I finally noticed that the door said, occupied. I could just imagine the poor guy in the bathroom sitting there absolutely terrified, and I'm out here like some kind of bathroom demon, like, let me in! Let me in! One of the flight attendants told me that the other bathroom was available, and I never scurried so fast to an airplane bathroom in my life. At least in there, I was able to die in peace out of embarrassment. After several long and painful hours of flying, we landed in Tokyo. We had a very short amount of time to make our last flight, so we were sprinting through the airport once more. At one point, a Japanese man with a microphone stopped us. He asked if we wanted to be interviewed for a Japanese TV show, but we were like, "Go man Nasari, my guy, we're in a hurry." Which is a shame, because I was genuinely curious and would have talked to him if we had the time. We made it to our last flight with only a few minutes left to spare, and thankfully, the flight was uneventful for once. At last, we had made it back home. My hair was a mess, my eye bags were starting to make me look like Yzma, and my legs were 2 seconds away from falling off. But we were home, and I'm pretty sure that was the best night of sleep I have ever had in my life. So, do you guys have any exciting traveling horror stories? If so, then feel free to drop them in the comments because I would love to read them. Anyway, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you have a lovely day and may all of your future travels go smoothly. Bye guys!